Hello everybody.
Good.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. Okay, great. I think growing up, a lot of us probably remember doing a lot of arts and crafts when we were little, like painting and drawing, probably all throughout elementary school. And a lot of us don't really realize the ways that it actually can help our brains develop and it helps how we learn actually. And research analysts Nancy Welch and Andrea Green did a study of 920 students, half who were in a program that was art integrated and half who weren't. And after the 3-year program, they looked at the statistics and saw that those who were in the black area, those who had been in the program, did way better on language arts, math, reading, and social studies. So they were in the art program, and those who weren't in it were just a bit below. So it actually does make a difference. You can actually see that. So that's pretty amazing. So basically, I want to educate you on the ways that primarily painting, drawing, dance, and music can help children in their education, not only just for doing it for fun. I have had personal experience with teaching children art for a year with a program, and you can actually see how engaged they were and how much they actually loved it. So that was pretty cool to see, and I've done some research on it as well. So I'm basically just going to go over the ways that those art areas can help those elementary school age children. First, I want to talk about painting and drawing. And painting and drawing primarily assists with verbal communication and also bringing children's thoughts to life, kind of. Let's see. According to Kansas State University, drawing and painting helps put thoughts and ideas on paper. So a lot of younger kids in elementary school don't necessarily know how to write, so it's really important that they can kind of use their words while they're drawing. So if you ask a kid, oh, like, what are you drawing? They're like, oh, well, I went to the park the other day with my mom and we had such a great time. So you're kind of getting their actual words out, and so it helps their verbal communication. It also is important to use painting and drawing as a means of them exploring textures, colors, and shapes. So a lot of the times kids are on their iPads and they can't really feel anything, they can't actually touch anything, so that they don't really have a good sensory experience. So drawing and painting, they can kind of feel what they're doing, and so it's really important that they can do that. Let's see. So now that we know what drawing and painting can do for children's education, I want to talk about the benefits of music in elementary school education. In the 2009 Journal of Neuroscience, Ellen Winter and Gottfried Schlag found that during a 4-year program, looking at the brain scans of children at the beginning of the program and after the program, they found that there was an actual change in their brain function. And also there was a big difference in motor skills as opposed to those who weren't in the actual program. Also at Stanford University, Brian Wendell did a music program, and he found that the reading and mathematical abilities of the children were improved as well. So it's really interesting to see how music can do that. It's not just fun to listen to. It actually has good purposes. So now that we know that those things can help children learn, I want to talk to you about the benefits of dance for children in elementary school. Students are able to use the skills that they get from dance not only at school, they can use it in their everyday life. So according to the National Coalition for Core Art Standards, it helps coordination, improvisation, and sequencing. Let's see, and repetition also. So a lot of the times little kids aren't really coordinated. They don't have a good sense of how to use their body necessarily. So it helps them be more aware of themselves. They're also able to improvise. Improvisation is also very important for children because a lot of the times they just see the beginning and end of a goal. They don't really see the middle process, which is the most important part. So they need to be able to, I'm sorry, that was for sequencing, I'm sorry. So sequencing, they need to know sequencing for, you know, not only like if they're doing a math problem, they start with numbers and they work that into an equation and then they get the end result. So sequencing, that's very important. And then improvisation is important because a lot of the times kids might feel like they're doing something wrong. If they, you know, they're working on a problem, they get it wrong, you know, they kind of feel discouraged. If they're able to improvise to make something work, I think that also helps them just have a better sense of not failing. They're able to improvise and use what they can. Let's see, repetition is also very important because a lot of kids, they don't really have a good way to learn how to memorize things. So in dance, when they're dancing, they can repeat movements to memorize them. And it also helps when you're older, you're trying to memorize something for a test. You know, repeating is very important. And then, so now that we know how drawing, painting, drawing, painting, music, and dance can help children in their educational progress, I think it's really important that we see the importance of it because it can also help us now. It's not only for kids, for everybody. And I've basically gone over how it helps their language development, organizational skills, and overall brain function. And even though everybody is not good at art, I think it's important to try since we see in what ways it can help us learn. So, yeah.
So David, what did you think?
I thought the topic was very interesting. I liked how she went over the painting, the drawing, the dancing, and the music all have all different ways of helping kids learn. And I also like how you did use the web sources to help you state your facts about those points. And then I like how you said you had experience and you saw how each of those topics can help kids. And overall, my thoughts were, it was very good. Because I have a little brother that used to like drawing until he started getting into video games. And I just thought it was very interesting.
All right. Well, I like the introduction. I thought that the references to everybody's shared experience in elementary school was a good start. I like the fact that you cited a study in the introduction. You gave us some statistical information to show us that this is important. That gives us a justification. And it sounds like you've got a pretty good preview. It's going to be based around the three particular arts that you're going to talk about. And I think on the development of the content, you did a very good job. You were very consistent about citing information and presenting that. You also explained it, I think, pretty effectively. Got a little confused on that third point, mixing up a couple of things. That wasn't a big deal, just a little bit of structural issues there. The transitions, I think, need to be a little bit smoother and clearer. It did feel a little like we went from one to the other very quickly. And I was kind of surprised because it seems to me like there ought to be some visuals that would go along with the art thing immediately, the painting and the drawing thing, and I'm thinking, geez, I got no visual aid on that. And I thought, okay, well, maybe she's saving it for something else, and then nothing else comes up. So that's probably the weakness in the speech is the you have a pretty good start with the visual, giving us the statistical information, and then there's no follow through on the stuff that you're talking about, how kids, visualize and they textualize and they, remember more, and how their language skills are better because they draw pictures. And I was just thinking, where are some of those examples of pictures that kids have drawn where they paid attention to details that they wouldn't have paid attention to except that they were painting? They might not, they say, oh, there were trees there in the park, but in the picture you can see how many trees there were and what kinds of trees they were and where they were, and those are things that the kids would put in their pictures and they leave out of their verbal descriptions. I was thinking there would be something like that. And the same thing with dancing at the end. I'm thinking about, well, sequencing, this is a natural for visualization. Where's that YMCA thing or something like that, where the kids go through this process of memorizing those kinds of things. It just seems like there ought to be some other information there. So, like I said, the research I thought was really strong. It's pretty well organized. Feels a little thin on the visual materials.
I actually forgot to use the visual aids.
You probably had stuff?
I had other slides, but I got kind of distracted.
Practice.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, practice helps.